Please welcome Rachel Giza and Anne-Marie Macdonald.
So, where did the shift come from? How did you? Where did the germ of this book come from?
Well, a good deal of that has to do with the fact that when I started writing this book, my younger child was 5, and I had planned all along that if I were to write fiction again, my younger child would have to be at least 5 years old, in school all day, and able to withstand the psychic abandonment, at least between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 3 p.m. And that said, I also knew that I couldn't take off. I'm not going to write all night. I'm not going to go to a cabin in the woods. Not that I actually ever did. That's so romantic. One day I'd love to do that. I'm not going to, go to a tower in Italy. I'm not even going to New York for the weekend. I'm here, and it all has to happen within this band of time, and it all has to happen in a way that is very different from how I wrote my previous books, such that when I would wake up in the morning, 9:30, 10, with the marvelous sort of neuronal halo of inchoate ideas and images, and then go to my desk. No, it's not like that anymore. There's so much. You get up with the children, and if you have children, you know what that's like. So I had chronic sleep deprivation, very busy, mothering, parenting, and the work has to happen in this window of time. And you're not going to be schlepping books or even going on the internet. You're not doing any research. There's no period setting, costume, lights. You've got to write from what's in your head. It's like you haven't gone shopping. There's no food in the house. We're having pasta. Okay? And everybody loves it, and it's not hard, and it'll be ready fast. So that was my idea.
Right.
I thought I'm working with what's in here and what's in here already.
Right.
I thought it would be easy.
You also draw very much from your own biography. This is about a famous author, a married lesbian with 2 young children, who is dealing with some echoes of childhood and some echoes of a falling out with her parents when she first comes out as a lesbian. It's set in Toronto, in your neighborhood. So you were drawing also on your own story, much more so than I think in anything else you've done.
That's absolutely true. I knew that I would be my own donor. I just didn't know how far that would take me. And I harvested my tissues, literal and metaphorical and psychic, for this book. I mean, writers continually rob people, and I thought, no, I'll just rob myself. And of course, that also meant that I'm going to be taking some loved ones with me. Oh dear, oh dear. And I'm going a little bit deeper into my own underworld than I have before. I really thought that as a self-respecting boomer of a certain age, I've done the therapy, processed it all, like what could be left? Well, you have children, spend some time alone with toddlers, and you'll find out if there are any like stray demons haunting you. They'll be called upon, they'll be there, and you'll face them. So there was that. I also, looking at it now from a bit of a bird's eye view, because it exists between 2 happy covers. I can't help but observe that Fall on Your Knees begins in 1899 and ends with an epilogue in the early 1960s, which is where The Way the Crow Flies begins. The Way the Crow Flies ends in the early part of the 21st century, which is where this takes up. And I thought, I'm sneaking up on myself.
Right.
And in a way, it's kind of like, if I were to use a theatrical analogy, it's almost like a one-woman show, or it's my acoustic album, or it's unplugged, or it's, you go into a theater and it's the bare stage. And of course, that is the most challenging artifice of all. That's the most challenging set of all to create, because it's never really the back of the theater wall that you're looking at. It's not a bare stage. It is constructed. It is artifice. But that was the greatest challenge for me, the greatest fictional challenge, was doing that bare stage thing and using myself.
Fall on your knees, you didn't have kids when Fall on Your Knees when you were writing that. And did that sort of idea about the vulnerability of children, did that change as you became a mother yourself, the way that you thought about it and how you understood it?
Absolutely, because the perpetrator was right in here. I had made a beautiful life, financial stability, time. I'm going into semi-retirement. You know, and again, I am going to do it better than anybody in the world, right? I have to admit, I'm a baby boomer. This is what we do. We invent things that already exist. And and really, I did find myself in a situation where I had made my children very, very safe. And I thought, oh, the most threatening presence in their life is me. Because they did press my buttons, and I did contact a kind of rage that I thought I had dealt with and let go a long time ago. And I thought, I'm not in charge of myself, but I'm in charge of them. I can't be in charge of them. They're too vulnerable if I'm not in charge of myself. So I had to step away from the 2-year-old just for a minute. And I did. I actually went back into psychotherapy so that I could deal with some issues, because I thought, this rage actually, you know, I can't pin it on anyone outside of myself. Everything's good. It's peacetime. There's nothing and no one to blame. That's where you go, I seem to be generating this. What's this about? It feels like an intrusion. It doesn't feel like part of me, but it's coming from me. And as long as I'm not in charge of myself, my children aren't going to be as safe as I'm trying to make them.
Can you talk a little bit more about that sort of how do you find reconciliation and how do you find that, like, what it means to forgive or what it means to let go of that anger? Because you talk about everything was fine, you were in peacetime, and yet there still was this huge emotion. Yeah.
Well, there's a reason why truth and reconciliation go together, right? And I think that, you know, forgiveness is a verb. Forgiveness is a process. And the forgive and forget, well, that's sort of half the story. In order to forgive, you first have to remember. And remembering can feel like anything but forgiveness. It can feel like hatred. It can feel like the rekindling of outrage. It can feel like, you know, self-hatred as well, because you examine your own role in whatever it was that was so awful, that may have exiled you or wounded you or damaged you in some way. So going back and remembering can be really, really hard. And as I say, it can feel like anything but forgiveness. There's nothing, no Hallmark card feeling about it at all.
Right.
So remember to forgive and then let it go. I don't believe in forgetting. I don't believe in forgetting anything, but I do believe in getting it all into one picture. And that can also be hard too, because you don't want to let the bad stuff in. If you've ever been exiled in any way, that's hard. But coming back from exile can be harder because you're just supposed to be happy, and you're supposed to forget about those bad times and just join the party and just relax. And why are you being the specter at the feast? Well, you got to open up those old wounds and say, come on in. Love and life is big enough to contain the whole story. And I want the whole story. And it's my job to get at the whole story. And this is what I have. This is my toolbox as an artist and as a writer. So I'm going to try to use it all. And so that's why I think, yes, forgiveness is a process. And I wonder if there's ever a time when you go, bing, I forgive. I'm so serene, I'm dead. I'm seeing the light. Great.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. It's been awesome.